Now we're going to talk about the present perfect, a tense that Spanish people frequently misuse because their version of the present perfect is much different. The present perfect tense is very important because when you can use the present perfect tense well, you are considered by all English courses as an intermediate student at least. The present tense is about unfinished time, not completed actions. I'll give you an example. If it is 7 o'clock in the evening, I can say, I ate 2 eggs this morning. The morning is finished. But I can also use the present perfect and say, I have eaten 2 eggs today, because today is not finished. Any time frame that is not finished can be used with the present perfect tense. You can use today, this week, this month, and this year. You can use this morning, this afternoon, this evening, and tonight only if it is still that time of day. But remember, if you indicate in this sentence a fixed period of time in the past, such as last week, last month, or give an hour like 3 o'clock, you must use the simple past tense. If you are in doubt as to whether you should use the past or the present perfect, use the past tense. Here are some examples of the present perfect tense. I have visited the hospital this week. This week is a time marker. He has visited Rome 3 times in his life. In this case, the time marker is not stated, but it is implied in the sentence. Some common questions for the present perfect use how long, how many, and how much. How long have you lived in Las Palmas? How many patients have you treated in the past year? Has John taken his medicine today? More than any other tense, the present perfect is controlled by time markers or adverbs of time. Here is a list of time markers that we usually use with the present perfect tense. When you use them, you can be reasonably certain that you should construct the sentence in the present perfect tense. Some of these time markers can also be used in the present tense, and some in the past tense as well. But as this is a game of percentages, most of the time the present perfect tense is the correct tense to use. Yet and already usually appear together. Yet is used to ask the question and to give a negative answer. Have you eaten dinner yet? No, I haven't eaten dinner yet, or yes, I have eaten dinner already. Recently and lately mean exactly the same thing. Have you read any good books lately? Have you seen any good movies recently? So far and up to now have the same basic meaning as in the Spanish translation hasta ahora. However, if we look a little bit closer at these 2 time expressions, they sometimes have a subtle difference in meaning. So far means that you believe that the condition will continue in the future. For example, if you say you have enjoyed the classes so far, then what you're saying is that you probably will enjoy them in the future. Up to now is used when the condition has changed. For example, if you have enjoyed the classes but then something bad happens, you might say you have enjoyed the classes up to now, meaning the condition has changed, you will not enjoy them in the future. Just is used for a recently completed action. It has the same meaning as the Spanish translation, acabar de hacer. I have just spoken Spanish means I recently completed the action. Ever is also a time marker for the present tense. In the present perfect tense, it appears frequently in interviews. Have you ever gone skiing? Have you ever owned a dog? These are the kinds of questions you ask when you're trying to get information from someone. You answer the question, the ever question, with never in the negative. Have you ever intubated a patient? No, I have never intubated a patient. Yes, I have intubated patients several times. Always is also a time marker for the present tense, but it can also be used in the present perfect tense. Have you always believed in God? Have you always lived in Spain? For is used with a duration of time or an expression of a duration of time. For 2 weeks, for 2 months, for a long time, for as long as I can remember, for ages. Since is used with a point in time, since 1995, since August. Since is a bit more versatile than for because you can put a subordinate clause after since I was a child, since I spoke to you. I would say that if you see since in a sentence, the clause with since is almost always in the past tense, while the main clause will almost always be in the present perfect. Here are some examples of using the adverbs of frequency in a sentence. Have you eaten lunch yet? Yes, I've eaten lunch already. No, I haven't eaten lunch yet. Have you seen any good movies recently or lately? I have just started the class, meaning it started a few minutes ago. Have you enjoyed your English classes so far? I have enjoyed his jokes up to now, but his last joke went too far. This is where the condition has changed. Have you ever taken English classes from Peter? No, I have never had the pleasure. Have you always wanted to be a doctor? I have lived in Las Palmas for 17 years, duration of time. I have lived in Las Palmas since 1995. Okay, we'll be back again with more tenses soon.